So now, it's my pleasure to introduce Wolfgang Schimansky. Did I say that right?
Yes. In 1972, after a couple of weeks of hard work in Europe, I decided to have a little vacation, and I was looking for a place, so I decided on Israel. Primarily, they have a wonderful beach in Haifa. I could visit Jerusalem. I could finally touch the Great Wall, the Western Wall, and also see the Al-Aqsa Mosque, which is right next door. But first, I needed to go relax and go to the beach. As I sat down in the warm sand, my feet playing with the Mediterranean small waves, the sun in my face, I began to relax and starting to recharge my batteries. Wonderful. Except suddenly there was a voice in the back of me yelling, "Mr. Schimansky!" So what the? I was really caught off guard because I don't know anybody in Israel. I've never been there, and nobody knows where I am. So who is calling me? So I'm turning around and I'm seeing a middle-aged man in a business suit with black, highly polished boots or shoes, and smiling at me while I'm sitting there in the sand in my swim trunks. And he said, "Mr. Schimansky, my name is Martin Lefebvre. I am from Paris, and I am an impresario, and I need your help." What? So, of course, I said, "What?" And he started to explain that he said, "I am like you, an impresario. I have several international artists that I manage, and I have one that is dying to play in the United States and tour it, but he has some visa issues, so he has never been able to do so. You, however, have had several dance companies in the United States and toured them successfully, so I'm hoping that you can do the same thing for my artists." Oh. I'm thinking, how did this person get here? Does he travel 2,000 miles from Paris to meet me? Unlikely, not kosher. And then maybe he was here already before I got here. Oh, that sounds all right. And with the Israeli security system as good as it is, they could easily find out when I got off the plane where my hotel was. And then at the hotel, they could find out where I was because I took a towel to go to the beach from the hotel. Anyhow, I said, "No problem, I'll consider and look into it." And then I realized that I had just finished a tour for the National Dance Company of Mali, which is in the Sahara Desert in West Africa, not far from Timbuktu. And it was very successful. They are fantastic people. They are basically cherishing the cultures of the Tuareg and Dogon tribes that are for thousands of years almost in that area. And they have never performed outside of Mali. And the government decided it is high noon to get them out of there and show the world what they have to offer in Mali. They had the original costumes, they had, of course, the dances, and the big drums to go with it. And it also helped that they were performing, the women were performing the way they do at home, topless. So the tour was very successful, and I understand now why the person was looking for me as an impresario. As I was looking into what this man was asking me to do back in New York, he told me that his name is Mikis Theodorakis. Never heard of it. And I looked into it, and I was blown away by the amount of information available from this particular person. He was an incredibly industrious and talented composer of several hundred works, operas, hymns, ballets, film scores, you name it, he had done it over the years. So that's fantastic. But when I checked a little bit deeper, I found out that he was also a very staunch socialist, very closely associated with the Communist Party of Greece. And that makes it automatically ineligible to get a visa because in that time of the history, we were still in the middle of the Cold War and the Americans and the communist regimes wouldn't see eye to eye. But as an impresario, I don't care about the politics, but the talent, I really wanted that. So we booked a tour, crisscrossed the nation, very successful. And while we were there, for instance, that was in the JF Kennedy Center in Washington, I got a call from the office of Dino De Laurentiis. Does it ring a bell? Okay, he is a major producer of movies and has been for some time. And his office wanted to know if Mikis was available to write the film score for a new film they had just cut, but they found out that without the soundtrack it was not working. So we said, yeah, what's the film? Well, it's called Serpico. Oh. For those of you who don't know Serpico, it was about a true story about a policeman in New York that went undercover in order to help the government fight corruption. So after a quick arrangement with the Paramount people, Al Pacino starred, of course, in Serpico. And if you don't know Al Pacino, maybe you know The Godfather or Scarface or Good Day Afternoon. Mikis and I got together in the green room in the Kennedy Center. He sat on the piano and played a couple of things, put them together, and then he put the whole thing in one piece, and he played it for me, and as he did, I taped it with the original tape I have here. You know the technology? We have that, okay. That tape then became a orchestration for 38 instruments. It was titled Beyond Tomorrow. And the title came out of the movie because Frank Serpico had a girlfriend and he loved her. They loved each other very much. Except there was a fly in the ointment, and that was that since he was working undercover, he was never home. And if he did, because a couple of hours, he's gone again. And she didn't want to live like that. She also took care of this big brown dog that he had the whole time. And she said, that's enough, I can't do it anymore. So she confronted him and said, hey, what we have done so far doesn't work. I want to spend every day with you. And I'm sure you understand why. And the question is, Mr. Pacino, what is your plan beyond tomorrow? And that became the title. All right. After the visit in Washington, the film that was nicely finished, of course, but in the following months, suddenly we got the news that the Mikis Theodorakis had been awarded the Grammy Award for the best film score for Serpico. And also a Golden Globe gave him the same kind of praise. So looking at the way these things developed for me, I must say that I was at first very surprised to get into this, but at the same time I also get very rewarded. First of all, I ended up with a nationwide tour for international artists that was fantastic. The second thing, I was able to promote Mikis Theodorakis to the American public. And finally, I was even involved in creating a film score for a major movie. And don't forget, there's also income. Because if you make any kind of movie, you have to pay the musicians and the actors and everybody else that's involved. That's one. The second thing, can I have that tape, please? Once it gets into public and you have the DVD is being produced, naturally, then there will be royalties due on this one. And the same thing applies for CDs. So you got 3 income streams that I never had before this guy was yelling at me. So, in conclusion, I think, maybe you want to take this down. If you ever get caught off guard, don't be upset. Because, just like in my case, you may end up having fantastic experiences. Thank you.
Thank you, Wolfgang. Wolfgang says his most useless talent is singing. Like, what's useless about that, unless you can't sing? Anyways, his most unusual job was completing historical preservation of a 100-year-old residence in New York. His happy place is sailing his boat on the open ocean. His least favorite food as a child, I ate what was available. I think that speaks volumes. He wouldn't bring back any fashion trend, doesn't care. When he's feeling stressed, Wolfgang just gets himself out of the situation and finds something new. He lives in Prescott with his wife Danny, their daughter Melanie, 2 dash hounds, Lola and Otto, and all 5 love it here. Now, it's time. Let's give Wolfgang a big round. Gratitude, applause.